Hey there, I'm Amanda Nicole, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. To put it simply, I'm an herbalist. I use plants for supporting the body and bringing it into a state of well-being and balance, but that's just putting it simply. I not only work with plants, but I work with stones and earth and animals and sky and river and really anything that presents itself, because I believe that everything is medicine, everything. But even beyond that, I go a little further and I am a listener. I listen. I believe that the voice of spirit, the voice of the divine, is speaking all the time, always in the creation. And so if we have ears to hear, we can hear it. And so I listen to the plants, I listen to land, I listen to water, I listen to whomever and whatever wants to speak, because I believe that the creation is good and that the voice of spirit is there, and that it is perhaps the primary and most consistent and accessible way of hearing from the divine. So I listen, but I also offer up my mouth, my tongue, my lips, my throat as an instrument, as a conduit, a channel for the messages that come as I listen. So I'm also a mouthpiece. I speak what I hear when there's that push that says, this needs to go out in the world. This isn't simply for you. This is for others. So that's a little bit of who I am and what I do, along with teaching. I teach classes online and in person, and I am an author. I've written a book, Flowers for a Girl, Plant Medicine and Sexual Trauma. And I am a mother and 6 little ones. Well, they're not all little. My oldest is 16, and then we trickle down to 3. But so many things. There are so many facets about me, just like there's so many facets about you. We are multifaceted and multidimensional beings. So here on this channel, I want to talk about the medicine. I want to talk to you about the plants and the stones and the rivers and the mountains and the clouds and the birds and all of the parts of creation that are medicine. And I also want to talk about listening, and I want to share the messages. I believe that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to sit in a room alone by myself and tell these stories and share this medicine and give these messages to the walls, but they're meant to go out into the world, so that light can shine, so that light can go out, and so that the world can be filled with more love and be made new, become new. Now, in connection to that, because I do desire for the work that I do to be rooted in source, rooted in the divine, to find its origin in spirit, I have an interest in spirit. I have an interest in things that are spiritual. And particularly as this way of being and this sort of medicine and this way of interacting with the world and creation would connect itself and interact with Christianity. I was raised in the Baptist church, went to church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, Wednesday night prayer meeting, vacation Bible school, Sunday school, you name it. And I also went to a conservative Christian school. This was the air that I breathed. And then I grew up and became an adult and became a pastor's wife of a conservative Reformed denomination. So, as you might imagine, those things might not seem to pair up and to match well or to merge with the first part of the description of who I am and what I do and what I'd like to be talking about here. And I'd like to change that. I would like to begin to communicate about how those things at their root, at their source, are not contrary at all, but are one and the same. The truth goes out into the world, and the light goes out into the world, and it meets with lies it meets with darkness, it meets with obstacles and difficulties, and we have to shine a light. We have to pull back the veil. We have to remove the layers that are covering what is true and what is real. And so that's very much a part of what I would like to speak about here. You know, it's very interesting to me with my upbringing when I have experienced resistance and beyond with the work that I do, that the Christian scriptures begin in a garden, and that it says that Adam and Eve in this garden communed every night in the cool of the evening with God, with the divine, that the divine source, God, would come and meet with them in the garden and walk with them and talk with them. So I don't know why it needs to be any different now, that we aren't also able now to commune with and walk with and talk with the divine in the garden, among the trees, with the flowers, with the earth. That is where I think it is most easy, if we have ears to hear and a heart that's open, to connect with God. So that's some of what I want to talk about on this channel. That's some of what I want to share. I want to share the medicine. I want to share the messages. And I also want to begin to do what I can to reconcile what might seem like two opposites, because they are not. And in my experience as an herbalist and in offering consultations, it's been so curious to me, because people will come and they will have their first consultation and talk to me about their physical difficulties, maybe even emotional, and they'll come for a follow-up or two. And, you know, we've gotten to know each other and they're feeling a little more comfortable with me, and we'll get together for one of our times together, and they'll begin by saying, would you just mind if I asked you a question? You know, before we get started, I have a question for you. And I'll say, sure, ask me. And I can't tell you how many times someone has said, how are you a Christian and an herbalist? You know, even people who might consider themselves outside of the church, you know, that don't affiliate, even they think, how can this be? How can you hold these two things in your person? Aren't you one or the other? I will say that at times I have felt torn between the two, but that's become less and less and less so as I have come to better understand the world and better understand the divine and the nature of reality and things as they are. I don't feel that tension as much as I did. It's become less and less so. And so even though I am, you know, I guess practically speaking and maybe spiritually speaking, someone that walks between the worlds, one foot on the land, one foot on the sea, operating in a liminal space and in-between space, I can feel more and more whole on the inside as barriers are torn down, as lies are uncovered, as veils are lifted, as the darkness is pushed back. And so it's time to start talking and to start sharing. And so that's what this channel is going to be about creation and medicine and messages and spirit. So I feel like before I wind things up with this first video on the YouTube channel, that I should share a bit of plant medicine with you. So I'm going to sit here for a moment and see who would like to come. Okay, for those of you who know me, you're not going to be surprised by who would like to come. Blueberry wants to come. Like, you knew it. Those who know me would know it's going to be blueberry or tulip poplar. Like, this is who's going to come. Blueberry wants to come. So here's what Blueberry would like to offer. There's so much medicine to Blueberry. But here's what Blueberry would like to offer. It was with the blueberry plant that I was given what I guess I would say is my true name, my essence name, my spiritual name. And when I was given the name, I thought, what does it mean, right? So I went to go find out, went to look and discover, and it means rare and precious. So isn't that lovely, especially at that particular time in my life, which you can learn a little bit more about if you go and listen to some of my podcast episodes. It was needed to hear that you are rare and precious. And I was also told by Blueberry, or by Spirit through Blueberry, however you want to word it, that I was a daughter of God, not to forget that I was a daughter of the divine. So I could receive those messages and I could say, well, aren't I special? I have this name, and this name tells me that I'm rare and precious, and I'm a daughter of God. Well, in the particular, yeah, it's my name. It's the name that was given to me. I am rare and precious. I am a daughter of the divine. But I have to broaden that out. That's what it's meant for, and say, like, that's who you are too. That's who you are. Blueberry is a medicine of essence. No questions asked. It is a medicine of essence. And so what Blueberry is wanting to communicate to you is that that's who you are. You are rare and precious. You are a child of the divine. You are divine. You are an image of the divine. You are a facet of the divine. You are an expression of the divine. This is who you are. So at this moment, I'm teaching this online class series called Swan Dive, an intimate online immersion. And we're basically trying to answer that question. Who are we? Why are we here? How can I get to know myself better so that I can more accurately express myself in the world? You know, this idea of the ugly duckling becoming the swan. How can I become who I am? I am that, right? The ugly duckling was always the swan. That was the essence of the ugly duckling. But how do I express it? How do I become it? How do I embody it? So that's quite a question. So we've got lots of plants to help us, and animals to help us, and worksheets and nature exercises and all sorts of things. But I think what Blueberry would like to tell us is, why don't you begin with this? Begin from this starting place. You are rare and precious, and you are a child of the divine. You are rare and precious, and you are an image, an expression of the divine. You are the divine. The divine expresses itself in you, and you are rare and precious. That's the root. That's the foundation. That's the starting place. And the only place to go from there is up. And that is a strong foundation to begin to build on. So that's a bit of Blueberry medicine for you. Lots more. Take a listen to the podcast. And I think, at least at the recording of this video, if you go to my website and sign up for the newsletter, there's a whole free, like, pre-recorded class on Blueberry that shares more medicine. And I think what I'd like to do before I wind up this video, because I love to sing, and I'm going to try to sing for you. I have to tell you, though, I'm feeling a little scratchy in my throat. I've got water here, but I've been trying not to lift it up and drink it while I'm sitting. But I'd like to sing this for you. And I got this song out of Robin Rose Bennett's herb book, which the title is escaping me at the moment. But she heard it. One of her students had written it. I'll try to put the link in the show notes so that you can listen for yourself to the original. And when she heard this song, she was like, that's Blueberry medicine. So I went and listened, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's totally right. This is Blueberry medicine. And so now I sing this song, you know, almost every time that I teach about Blueberry. So I'm going to try my best. Hopefully my voice will hold up because it's having a moment. All right. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. I am home. Come on in. You are home. Let it in. I am home. Come on in. You are home. Let it in. Because next time, when I sing it, that second part is a call and response. So I'll sing the first line, I am home, and you call it back. You sing it back to me. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. Sweetness is knocking on my heart's door. I am home. Come on in. You are home. Let it in. I am home. Come on in. You are home. Let it in. So that's good medicine. I'll put some links to some podcasts down below, to the original song, to my website. And if you'd like, I'd super appreciate it if you'd click like, if you'd subscribe. You're welcome to donate. You're welcome to send emails. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have you send more medicine my way that I could gather as I share with you. We reciprocate with one another. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Okay, bye.